Life goals are on everyone's list. We decide what to eat, where, and do. We decide what to study, what profession we desire, and who we want to marry. But occasionally things don't go as planned and you have to adapt. You'll likely suffer more if you don't. When his efforts failed, one Arkansas man regretted his stubbornness. He used to walk his family's land and dream of his perfect future as a child. Chipping away, he made this future a reality. He ignored a part of his life that forced him to make a choice he didn't like. Walt Mantis and his parents lived on 100 acres in Arkansas. From childhood, he preferred exploring the property to watching TV. At 12, he saw his future and was determined to make it happen. "I saw something." Walt told his parents that God sent him a vivid picture of a child. He saw himself swinging a little girl by the arms on their property. Her skin and eyes were dark. He knew she would be named Chloe and his daughter. He knew he had to find a good woman to marry and raise Chloe. This step was easy. Annie, the neighbor girl, had a crush on Walt Mantis for years. Walt and Annie, now college students, were talking in a dorm room years after Walt had his vision. She told him she always wanted children. "If you like my videos, don't forget to like or subscribe. Thanks in advance." More. Furthermore, she knew that she was meant to have a daughter, and she even had a name picked out. Annie told him her daughter would be named Chloe. Walt was stunned. He understood immediately. He committed to Annie even though the girl in his vision had olive skin and dark eyes and could not be Annie. They married, hoping to have Chloe. Before settling down, the couple worked at international missions for years. They tried for 4 years to conceive. No luck. Walt was impatient. What went wrong? Were any of them unable to conceive? Walt recalls, "I had always clung to this promise that God had given me about the daughter. I didn't know when, but it was getting hard to wait." The whole family was upset. Annie, his beloved wife, struggled too. They were hard. She said it was hard. "I doubted God's goodness because it seemed so mean. Having always wanted a daughter, it seemed impossible. What's their problem?" The couple fought constantly because they wanted their perfect future. Their failure separated them like barbed wire. It was unavoidably painful. Walt's faith and marriage suffered as well. Had he always been deceived? Had he wasted years hoping for the impossible? The couple felt slighted whenever a friend or acquaintance announced a pregnancy. Humiliated. Why couldn't they? "We're fools," Walt thought. "We're fools who want kids." The happy couple became truly depressed. Despite hardships and heartbreak, the couple wanted a family. It strengthened. Annie eventually suggested adopting a baby. Walt insisted they would never adopt. Ever. Vision? What happened to their dream of having children? Walt said, "I don't want a Band-Aid baby. Struggling. Hurting. I wanted more. I wanted more. I wanted our child." Walt avoided talking about it for a while. Walt eventually changed his mind. Walt eventually accepted the idea and decided to have the child he had always wanted, regardless of its biological parentage. The couple tackled the mountains of paperwork and red tape. They awaited selection. We reviewed the paperwork. I supported Annie's hard work. Walt says, "I wasn't sure adoption was right. It's done." It was unstoppable now. They suddenly received an email that changed their lives. I recall a night at Walt's sister's. Checking email, Annie smiles as she recalls an email that said, "It's a girl." I clicked and saw it was from the adoption agency. "We just want to let you know that a birth mother has chosen you guys, and you're going to be parents," they said. "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this," she said. Walt's reaction was somewhat different. Annie gets this email, she's super excited, and I'm just like, "Alright, I'll wait and see. Because, I don't know." Recalls. He wasn't aware of the biggest surprise of his life. The adoption agency said their baby girl would be born in late February or early March. Annie and the couple were overjoyed. However, something had been bothering them. They decided after discussing it. Nothing could have predicted that change of heart a few months earlier. They stopped calling their girl Chloe. We had decided, oh, that was just a fluke thing, that it was a coincidence that we both liked that name, Annie said. We even discussed a different name. Before that decision, something had to be done. A social worker called. Allison, the baby's mother, wanted to meet them before adopting her. The couple gladly did that. They drove to Wichita, where the girl lived. The most shocking event of their lives was about to happen. She lived in rural Wichita. Annie says, we went to her house and knocked on the door. They waited a moment. Nobody appeared. More. There was something else about the scene that made them feel somewhat uneasy. The house was silent. Maybe they got the wrong address. Was the house inhabited or abandoned? They heard a creak while on the front porch, confused. Door opening. Walt collapsed when he saw who opened it. Walt recalls tearfully, she opens the door, and it looks like a grown-up version of this little girl in my head that was from the past. Allison looked just like Walt's vision girl. He gasped when he saw her. So, in a second, the name Chloe was back on the table, Annie says. We went up to this room, and we sat on the table and talked for like 3 hours. Let's discuss a name, the social worker says. Any ideas? She said, yeah, well, ever since I got pregnant, even before I knew it was a girl, I've been calling this baby Chloe. Walt and Annie remembers, ugly crying. She said, oh, you hate the name, as we cried. Oh my goodness, no, we love the name. Walt says, God has spoken, He's told us that name. The Band-Aid baby doubts were completely gone. Full body shivers. Like the Holy Spirit was right there. When the birth mom said Chloe, I became a father instantly. I fathered her before she was born. I felt God saying, see how much I love you. See what I did. The big day arrived months later. Allison went into labor while the couple was relaxing at home. They rushed to her Wichita hospital. Annie remembers being crazy nervous that morning. I remember going to the hospital, and then all of a sudden it was happening, and the doctor came in and said, okay, she's ready, you're going to have a baby now. Chloe arrived after all the commotion. I saw my baby. Walt remembers waiting for her as a child. She's finally there. I'm the father of this child, as God intended. He never takes chances. It's miraculous. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again in the next video.